Well, it is Wednesday, hump day, middle of the week day, whatever kind of day you want to call it. Let's see who we've, and I've got it. Already there's something wrong with the display. Let me change that real quick, because I'm a doofus. And hit it. Learning how to type would be good. Yay! Because I don't know how to type, because I'm a dummy. Okay, here we go. Alright. Here we go. It's Wednesday. Alright, good afternoon to a Jason Todd. A good morning to a Diz. A good afternoon to a Mariel Bell. Good morning, Hellbound and Stargazer and Magnus and CT. Good morning, Doubting Tommy and my loving hubby. Good morning, Jay Willie. Let me see who else has popped in here. Good morning, MC. And I think, and a Numbed Skull and a Rhetorical. So good morning, guys. How are we all doing this morning or this afternoon, depending on if we're in the U.S. or across the pond. And yes, he is actually active today over there on the News Hound cam. So we've got that going for us this morning. How long that will last is completely and totally up to him. So... And he is, you are really animated this morning. Of course, he may try and get me in on it, which isn't going to work because today is news day. There's all sorts of crap going on. Let's see, ISIS fighters who return to Sweden get tax-funded driver's license and free apartments while most people in Sweden cannot afford either. Wow, Jay Willie, that is, wow. That is just wow. Okay. Let's see, we've got one tweet this morning. Oh, no, that's the wrong tweet. There we go. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson arrives in Vancouver. No, that was yesterday's tweet, too. Did I just not fix these tweets, or was I just not giving a crap this morning? Could have sworn I fixed these tweets. Oh, there's bloopers everywhere. Wouldn't be a stream of mine without it, I guess. Alright, let's see what we've got going on here. Did I even get tweets this morning? Yep, I got tweets this morning. Alright. There we go. Secretary of State Tillerson, our nations must remain united on sustaining pressure until North Korea takes concrete steps toward and ultimately reaches denuclearization. If that's going to happen, I have no clue. Morning, Fuckwad and Draconeth. How are you guys doing this morning? So that tweet went out today, and all these links for these tweets are down in the description. I can say that because I actually remembered to put the description down there this morning. And the next tweet I know I clipped. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, yeah. It is that time for fellow Americans. Department of Defense. This is for military personnel, and some W-2s are already available for download on DFAS MyPay. While others will be coming out in the next few weeks. Those are for military members, active or reserve. So please click on that link if any military personnel are watching, and figure out when you need to be expecting your W-2s. So there is that in the morning. Let's see, if they are fighting ISIS, I say good, take care of the soldiers. Yep, and those are the tweets of the morning because I couldn't find much else. Let me see what else is going on here. I was watching some videos yesterday and doing some stuff, but mainly I'm trying to stay warm because it is 2 degrees Fahrenheit with the wind chill this morning. And, oh yeah, that was the other picture I wanted to show everybody. The fact that I am freezing my ever-loving tush off. If you haven't seen it on Twitter, you're about to see it here. So, this is, as I try and get it resized, because this is a Kindle picture, so y'all just don't know. This is my front yard this morning. This is my front yard this morning. That is the street. Back there at the back, at the end over there is the street. This in Georgia is a major thing because in the South we usually aren't prepared for what they would consider a major calamity of snow, even though in the morning, in the North they would call this a dusting. Morning, Jim Gersh. How are you doing this morning? So yeah, I've got snow this morning, which means I'm not going anywhere. And I am glad I did all of my grocery shopping yesterday, because there's no way in hell you're getting me out of my house today. Not happening. I've heard of people abandoning their pets in the cold. Yeah, I mean, to me, if you're going to have a pet, it is a responsibility. You have to be prepared to handle that responsibility. Good afternoon, Batman. And you have to know there are certain things coming, that are inherent in being a pet owner. Number one, if it is too cold for you to be outside without any sort of winter gear on, it sure is damn cold for your pet. God, my brain ain't working. I don't know why. It's too cold for your pet to be out. Some of these people just don't know this, or they just don't give a shit. And for the people that don't give a shit, you don't need to be pet owners, in my opinion. Because I'm sorry, if it is really, really too cold for you to be outside for any length of time, why are you going to subject your animal to that? And if you don't think that you want to be a pet owner anymore, take it to a no-kill shelter. I mean, seriously. Yeah. I mean, why are you going to do that to your pets? It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It's abusive. I mean, if you don't want to be a pet owner anymore, there are plenty of shelters out there that you can take your animals to. Don't neglect them, don't abuse them, and certainly don't let them freeze to death because you've decided that you did not want to be a pet parent anymore. Because that's stupid. It's absolutely fucking stupid. Yes, it is, Batman. It is a privilege and a responsibility. So, here we go. Alright, so we have got our news this morning. We're going to go ahead and read some news. For some strange reason, the news is not showing up. Yay, bloopers and shit. No, that is not the news. What the hell happened to my news? Alright, there we go. Scroll it up. Shrink it down. And get the pictures up there. Yay, lots of bloopers today because my brain ain't working.
Big story today.
Alright, there we go. First story on the books. ICE says Detroit man's deportation was justified. And I will get to this in a minute. ICE defends deportation. People are in an uproar about Jorge Garcia, a 39-year-old landscaper, who was deported after being in the U.S. for close to 30 years. United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement says there was justification for the deportation. Khalid Walls, ICE spokesman, said Tuesday that deportations would happen if immigration laws were violated. Such violations would lead to being arrested, detained, and deported from the U.S. Garcia first heard of his deportation in November, but was allowed to stay through the holidays so he could spend it with his family. The deportation was pushed back by Congresswoman Debbie Dingell. That last name is something else. Immigration advocates complain that deportations separate families. Morning, Mitch the Ripper. You were here for 30 years. At no point in the 30 years of you being here and becoming a legal citizen because you came here as a child, did it ever dawn on you to possibly get an immigration lawyer and be a naturalized citizen of the United States? I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for this person. If you are here illegally, you're already breaking immigration rules. There are legal ways to come to this country. Yes, it takes longer to get here legally. But if you don't want to be a legal citizen in this country and you get deported, then I have no sympathy for you. I'm glad that Trump is wanting to make a move toward a merit system, which will stop all these family chain immigration visas. Because right now, if you have one family that comes to the United States legally, you can actually get visas for your nephews, your aunts, your uncles, your grandparents, and so forth. And this chain type immigration stuff has to stop. If you have nothing to contribute to this country, then, if you can't merit why you should be here, then you really shouldn't be here. Should have gotten citizenship if he got butthurt over getting deported. I agree, Mariel. Hellbound. He had other things that were likely more important, like his family. Hellbound, if you want to be here legally, I'm going to have to disagree with you on this. If you want to be here legally and your family is here legally, but you're not, you've had 30 years to become a legal citizen. There's no excuse. He came here at 10. Okay, so if he came here at 10, once he reached 18, he's 39 now, he had 11 years to become a legal citizen. I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for these people. I mean, okay, you came here illegally as a child, but once you became a legal adult, what is your argument for not becoming a naturalized citizen? I have no sympathy for these people that come here illegally. I'm sorry, I don't. And I don't think I ever will. Yeah, they said close to 30 years. He came here at the age of 10. Legal adult age in the United States is 18. He's 39 now, so yeah, 21 years. Yeah, okay, my brain still isn't working, and I am caffeinated. I can't maths today. Okay, so he's had over 20 years to become a legal citizen. Jay Willie, those people are morons. No one is splitting up families because all of them should go back. Yeah, I mean, if you're not legal, you should be deported. Because being here illegally means you've already broken a law. You're here illegally. I mean, the word illegal says it all. Numbed Skull. One of my responses was keep them, send the parents who brought them out, and see if the kids follow. Hello, Neil. My whole thing is, okay, if they come here illegally and they have children, them and their children should be deported back to their country of origin. But their child, having been born in the United States, should be given dual citizenship. That way, when they turn 18, they can make a decision as to whether or not they want to come here legally or stay in their own country. Because they were born in the U.S., so why not give those anchor babies dual citizenship, but deport them back with their families that are not legal citizens? I don't see a problem with that. I know plenty of people may, but I personally don't see a problem with that whatsoever, at all. Alright, next story. Pence wants peaceful end to standoff. Vice President Pence is urging for a peaceful exchange of leadership in the northern Afghan province of Balkh. Ethnic rivalries in the area have caused problems for the governor, who continues to deny attempts from the central government to oust him. This is a standoff that is occurring between President Ashraf Ghani and Balkh Governor Atta Mohammed Noor. A standoff which threatens to fracture the stability of the Western-backed administration in Kabul. Noor is a thorn in the side of Ghani, a former World Bank official named president. This was after a 2014 disputed election. Pence has spoken to Ghani in regards to Washington's new South Asia strategy after the vice president took to Twitter. Yes, the vice president uses his Twitter too. Spoke with Ashraf Ghani. Continued discussions from Kabul on our South Asia strategy, commended U.S. coalition and Afghan soldiers for continuing fight against terrorism, emphasized support for Afghan government to engage with Balkh Governor Atta and conduct peaceful transition of leadership. This, to me, is the way a politician in any kind of power should take to Twitter. Not that our shitlord in chief doesn't have his moments, but I am sincerely beginning to believe at this point that those moments that sound truly diplomatic are his staff tweeting for him and not him succinctly. Because, let's face it, our shitlord in chief, whatever comes out of his mouth, I don't think there's a filter there. This ethnic rivalry has become more prolific in Afghan politics. Negotiations have been going on between the president's office and officials from Jamiat, of which Noor is the leader, for weeks. Ghani has been accused of favoring his own ethnic group, the Pashtuni. Concerns are that the standoff could escalate to violence if an agreement cannot be reached. Yes, Zeus is awake and active, which is rarity on this show. I think he's trying to keep his job. I think he is trying to keep his job as the news hound. So he's providing a little extra entertainment this morning. But so far, that is what we've got for the news. Let's see what we've got for NPR.
Public radio in Atlanta, WABE, is right here.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. House Republican leaders have proposed a short-term funding bill to avoid a partial government shutdown Friday night. But it's not clear that all Republicans support it. Members of the conservative House Freedom Caucus say they want to see more money for defense spending. Meanwhile, congressional differences remain over DACA immigration legislation. It's been imperiled by the contentious White House meeting last week, where President Trump reportedly disparaged African countries and Haiti. NPR's Scott Detrow has more.
Many Democrats are insisting on permanent protections for the 700,000 people in the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program by the end of the week. But Arkansas Republican Tom Cotton is dismissing the idea of reaching a deal that quickly. He points to the fact a federal judge has temporarily blocked the Trump administration from ending DACA.
So there is no urgency right now to try to craft some very consequential bill in a very complicated area of law in the next 3 days.
Cotton is one of several immigration hardliners opposing the bipartisan deal reached by 6 senators. He's been urging Trump to insist on broader fixes to the legal immigration system, too, in any agreement. Scott Detrow, NPR News, the Capitol.
North and South Korea will field a combined women's ice hockey team next month at the Winter Olympic Games. The teams will also walk together under a unified flag at the opening ceremony. NPR's Elise Hu reports the countries reached the agreement in today's talks.
Tensions between the two Koreas have cooled considerably as they've worked together on logistics to participate in the Olympics together. The Games will be hosted by South Korea in the resort town of PyeongChang. Under the latest agreement between North and South, the two countries will make a show of unity not only in the opening ceremony, but on the ice and make cultural exchanges too. North Korea is sending a Taekwondo demonstration troupe, orchestra, dancers, and a 230-member cheering squad, according to a joint statement from the two countries. The total North Korean delegation will be about 550 people. Elise Hu, NPR News, Seoul.
Winter storm warnings are posted for the Northeast from Maine down to Pennsylvania. Very heavy snow is falling, and some areas may get up to 6 inches of snow. It's snowing farther south, too, from North Carolina to Georgia. Governor Nathan Deal has ordered states of emergency in 83 Georgia counties. National Weather Service meteorologist George Wetzel says Georgia conditions have become so dicey he's urging people to stay home.
This is causing huge driving problems all across the area, and I recommend people don't even try to go out. Certainly not this morning, but maybe wait until tomorrow when temperatures go above freezing.
In Alabama, freezing rain and ice have made driving conditions dangerous. In Louisiana, the ice is keeping schools closed for another day. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrials are up 104 points at 25,897. This is NPR.
All right, there's the NPR news for the morning. I'm going to have to look up the stuff for sanctuary cities, my dear. I couldn't find anything this morning on them, hellbound. That's going to take a little extra digging. Okay, I have got Arthur's pretty icon on my screen because he has submitted a story this morning. The story he submitted is a blog post that went out via email to YouTube creators. And we are going to go through this. He is linked down below as credited for giving me this story this morning. So we're going to go through this blog post and we are going to see what they are doing to creators. Some of the buzz has already been on Twitter. Some of this buzz started yesterday, but we're going to continue with it today. So let's see what we've got. All right. Yep. You know I'm going to cover it if it's about YouTube. Additional changes to the YouTube Partner Program, YPP, to better protect creators. 2017 marked a tough year for many of you, with several issues affecting our community and the revenue earned from advertising through the YouTube Partner Program. Despite those issues, more creators than ever are earning a living on YouTube. Bullshit. With the number of channels making over 6 figures, up to 40% year over year. In 2018, a major focus for everyone at YouTube is protecting our creator ecosystem and ensuring your revenue is more stable. As Susan mentioned in December, we're making changes to address the issues that affected our community in 2017 so that we can prevent bad actors from harming the inspiring and original actors around the world who make their living on YouTube. Morning Malachite, and I am so glad you can make it reality check. Better late than never. Better late than never. A big part of that effort will be strengthening our requirements for monetization so spammers, impersonators, and other bad actors can't hurt our ecosystem or take advantage of you while continuing to reward those who make our platform great. They still didn't, morning Callie, they still haven't defined what exactly a bad actor is. We're content creators. We're not actors. We're content creators. If we do a skit, we do put our heart and souls in a skit, but most people can see through the fact that we are not professional actors. I mean, this is stupid. It makes no damn sense. Back in April of 2017, we set a YPP eligibility requirement of 10,000 lifetime views. While that threshold provided more information to determine whether a channel followed our community guidelines and policies, it's been clear over the last few months that we need a higher standard. Yep, they're taking it. Look, every time I do one of these news shows, they demonetize it. I make no money off these shows. None. Starting today, we are changing the eligibility requirement for monetization to 4,000 hours of watch time within the past 12 months and 1,000 subscribers. We've arrived at these new thresholds after thorough analysis and conversations with creators like you. I would like to know which creators they talk to. They sure as hell didn't talk to me. If they mean that little survey, I know I was not positive in the survey that I took. And if any of you guys want to know my answers, I actually did that survey on a live stream with Mitch and a couple of other people. They allow us to significantly improve our ability to identify creators who contribute positively to the community and help drive more revenue to them. Okay. What do you mean by positively to the community? Do you mean taking your brain out of your head and echoing the sentiment of every regressive leftist that is a content creator? Because if that is what it means, then I'm sorry. Apparently, I am not a positive contributor to the community. Because I have a mind of my own, I think critically, and I tend to question things like this. These higher standards will also help us prevent potentially inappropriate videos from monetizing, which can hurt revenue for everyone. I think they're referring to our dear Paul. But once again, they're punishing everybody for the mistakes of one person. On February 20th, 2018, we'll also implement this threshold across existing channels on the platform to allow for a 30-day grace period. On that date, channels with fewer than 1,000 subs or 4,000 watch hours will no longer be able to earn money on YouTube. When they reach 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours, they will be automatically reevaluated under strict criteria to ensure, I'm highlighting this, to ensure they comply with our policies. Okay, what do you mean by strict criteria? Because the guidelines that you released are vague. They've never really narrowed down what they meant by their criteria. Because if you look at their guidelines are vague. Neil, it's funny how they can't seem to keep or and right. Yeah, they don't edit their own stuff. They don't edit their own stuff. They can't be consistent even in their own blog post. To ensure they comply with our policies, new channels will need to apply and their application will be evaluated when they hit these milestones. What is a grammar? Exactly, Callie. You know, strict criteria. If you mean your guidelines, maybe you need to be more specific with the guidelines, because they're not. The email I got saying I have 30 days explicitly said and. Yeah, they keep changing it. They use those two interchangeably. Though these changes will affect a significant number of channels, 99% of those affected were making less than $100 per year in the last year, with 90% earning less than $2.50 in the last month. It's because you demonetize most of what gets uploaded. Any of these channels who no longer meet this threshold will be paid what they've already earned based on our AdSense policies. After thoughtful consideration, we believe these are necessary compromises to protect our community. Of course, size alone is not enough to determine whether a channel is suitable for monetization, so we'll continue to use signals like community strikes, spam, and other abuse flags to ensure we're protecting our creator community from bad actors. Again, bad actors. I don't like that term. As we continue to protect our platform from abuse, what abuse? We want to remind all of you to follow YouTube's community guidelines, monetization basics and policies, terms of service, and Google AdSense program policies, as violating any of these may lead to removal from the YouTube Partner Program. Is YouTube going to turn into... They're already turning into Twitter, hellbound. In my opinion, they're already turning into Twitter. Because a lot of the content creators that are still monetized are regressive left. Those are your Steve Shives, your Christy Winters, your Chrisiosities. Those are your Riley J. Genesis, your Neon Fionas. I bet you all those people are still monetized. While this change will tackle the potential abuse of a large but disparate group of smaller channels, we also know that the bad action of a single large channel can also have an impact on the community and how advertisers view YouTube. We'll be working to schedule conversations with our creators in the months ahead so we can hear your thoughts and ideas and what more we can do to tackle that challenge. How about stop? How about just fucking stop? Just stop. Just instead of talking to the larger creators, how about talking to the smaller creators that you're screwing over? How about that? How about talking to the ones that are smaller, that are fucking struggling, that are getting ready to give up and move on because you can't seem to, realize when something isn't working or pissing off your community at large. Draconeth, the crap that goes with the agenda are safe. Exactly, I agree. Neil, we know that everything we're saying about this helping the community is a lie, but don't worry. Exactly. Doubting Tommy, Cat Black lost her monetization. Oh! That's what she was complaining about this morning. I missed that part. Does my watching this constitute me abusing the system? I have no clue, MC. I have no clue. Let me see. One of YouTube's core values is to provide anyone the opportunity to earn money from a thriving channel, and while our policies will evolve over time, our commitment to that value remains. Those of you who want more details around this change or haven't yet reached this new 4,000 hour, 1,000 subscriber threshold can continue to benefit from our Creator Academy, our Help Center, and all the resources on the Creator site to grow your channels. Even though 2017 was a challenging year, thanks to creators like you, it was full of moments that make YouTube such a special place. Creators large and small, established and emerging, transformed their talent and originality into videos that captivated over 1 billion people around the world. They made us laugh, taught us about our world, and warmed our hearts. We're confident the steps we're taking today will help protect and grow our aspiring community well into the future. Bullshit! I'm sorry. I have allergies to bullshit. I just sneezed. This is just a special safe space. Exactly, Mitch the Ripper. Doubting Tommy, I'm a stage performer, not an actor. Yeah? I'm a bad actor, so I'm an animator. I know it, Numbed. Do you do... Oh, okay. Thank you, Stargazer. It's frustrating because no matter what I do, no matter what I cover on this channel, no matter what kind of content I have on this channel, it seems the only content that has remained monetized has been my writer's workshop and anything that isn't politically driven. I'm sorry. I want to keep bringing the news to you. And if that means being demonetized halfway through or after the stream is finished, then fine, demonetize me, but I am not going to stop bringing you guys the news because I feel that what I am doing needs to be done. And if more people want to jump on this train and help out by spreading the word and by taking the bullshit out of mainstream media and actually reporting the news the way it needs to be reported, then by all means, do that. I know I'm not the only person on this platform doing it. I know I'm not the only person on the platform combing through news stories, trying to cut through the rhetoric and all the propaganda to bring you the actual story and leave out the fluff. I'm not going to stop doing this. I mean, I don't care if I have to wind up getting a part-time job in order to keep doing this. I don't care if where I move to, I am going to have to spend the rest of my days in between freelance writing and selling handmade jewelry in order to keep my channel going. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. The news needs to be reported the way it needs to be reported, without spin, without propaganda. So, I'm here until they kick me off. Alright, out of Breitbart. And yes, I said Breitbart because I am going to do full disclosure for this. I saw this yesterday in my research for stories. New California secedes from liberal California, declares 51st state. And yes, the major part of California is giving a major middle finger to the mostly liberal part of California. Or at least so says Breitbart. A group of activists declared independence for the state of New California on Monday in an attempt to leave California's liberal coastal enclaves and create a 51st U.S. state out of the remainder of the Golden State. The current state of California has become governed by a tyranny, according to a document published by the group. The document continues, original emphasis. Therefore, the United States Declaration of Independence of 1776, the Constitution, is adapted in 1783 by the Congress of the United States of America, the Alta California Declaration of Independence in 1836, the Sonoma Proclamation of 1846, and the California State Constitution of 1848 mandate the right, the responsibility, the duty of the people who are suffering from the long train of abuses and usurpations at the hands of a tyrannical government to abolish and make a new government by the people and for the people under God. USA Today further quotes the group as declaring, after years of overtaxation, regulation, and monoparty politics, the state of California and many of its 58 counties have become ungovernable. A somewhat inaccurate map of the proposed boundaries of the new state obtained from the activists by USA Today indicates that New California would include all of the state except the coastal region extending from the San Francisco Bay Area south to the Los Angeles area. The Sacramento area and the Napa Valley wine region would also be excluded and would remain in the original California. The history of the present governor and government of California is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of a tyranny over the counties of New California and the state of California. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to seek a constitutional remedy to the abuse of powers. We, the people of the counties of New California, solemnly publish and declare these counties are, and of right ought to be, a free and independent state, that we strive to be free from the state of California, and that as a free and independent state have full power to establish and maintain law and order, to promote general prosperity, and to do all other acts and things which an independent New California state may rightfully do. We, therefore, the representatives of the counties of New California, appeal to the California Legislature and the Federal Congress to pass resolutions to create the state of New California, and for the support of this declaration with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Let me see here. Diz. Texas has it written in our signing with the states that we can secede, but we never tried. It's just a sort of joke that we play because there's an option. Southern Reality. And fuck Southern California. They're fucking weird down there. Doubting Tommy. The progressive areas want this. They know they would lose all elections if this happened. Why can't they just call it North Cal and Southern Cal like we already do? I don't know. I have no clue. Why call it California at all? Just rename it a completely different state, in my opinion. I say we take California and push it somewhere else. I say if we're going to do that, just get the shitlords out of California first. And just let, the chips fall where they may. Past efforts to split the state have been unsuccessful, including the state of Jefferson, there's the reference Hellbound was referring to, a group of conservative northern counties, and the 6th California's referendum proposal, which has failed thus far to qualify for a statewide ballot. Left-wing Californians warmed to the idea of secession last year after President Donald Trump was installed in office, but the Cal exit movement remains stalled. Because they want to do it, but they have no fucking clue how. Because they're absolutely freaking clueless. And there is the news. Well, I hope they're able to become their own state. Yeah, it was. If you get there, it'll eventually get there in the article. Breitbart's not too bad with some of their articles. I don't tend to read an article in its entirety from the source on this show because sometimes it tends to be slanted, and I don't, agree with a lot of the slant. Neil, wow, imagine if Cal exit libs actually vote for this. I know, right? One last piece of news. No, that's it. The Cal stuff was, yeah. So, let's see what we've got. This Greek crap. Alright, from Diz. I don't know what I'm looking at. This is Greek, but apparently this means the cryptocurrency is, going by the wayside. So I'm going to leave this here for those people who actually know what they're looking at. Because I have no clue, because all this financial stuff is Greek to me. So what we're looking at, I guess, is the fall of cryptocurrency. So it had a major spike, and now it's going down the tubes. I hope you guys can see what's going on. This is real-time stuff. That's why you're seeing flashes every now and again. So, we may be looking into this to see why it's falling all of a sudden. But this is on the screen for now. This is cryptocurrency. This isn't only Bitcoin, but I guess all the other cryptos as well that I don't keep up with because that's a foreign language to me. So, yep. There's your cryptocurrency. About 5,000 loss in Bitcoin last 24 hours. Wow. Okay. Alright, so here we go.
Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
And as always, I thought I had this keyed up, but it doesn't want to. There we go. Alright. The first recommended channel. He's a shitlord, he's a shit poster, and he also does live streams. We're talking about the ever smart-assed Fudder Nut from California. The the Canadian with an attitude. Because I'm sure if he's listening, he just had an eye twitch. He is from Canada. He does have an attitude. He gives no fucks. And I don't think I've ever heard him apologize for anything. But it's Fudder Nut. And at only 134 subscribers, he needs a little more support. Fudder butter. Next one, Mitch the Ripper, with his Saturday evening American reality podcasts. He provides entertainment from a political sense, a bantering sense, and an all-around smart-ass shitlord sense. He only has 90 subscribers, so he needs you to get word out because he is not on the twatters. He avoids the twatters like the bubonic plague. I don't blame him because sometimes the twatters can be overly cancerous. So you guys go check out Mitch the Ripper, and I'm sure he's going to be uploading different content soon, so keep your eye out for that. Next one, PeninaChan, Penina Plays and Gator and Frog Podcast. She also has original content that she uploads, and by original content I mean pre-recorded and edited videos that she uploads where she states her own opinions and things of that nature. I'm sure Fudder is sorry he hasn't apologized to you, Maddy. I love that, Mariel. So check out old Penina. She's only got 246 subs. And if you are looking and wondering why Reading Ren has not streamed in a while, it's because she cannot stream on her channel due to a strike. So they created Shitlords Anonymous, the channel. Here you can find a plethora of shitlords from our Magnus in the chat to Batman and Inane Dragon, all commenting on things from cancer to MST 3King public domain movies. This is the channel to watch them on. It's only 213 subscribers. She needs a little bit more attention. Have a good day at work, Callie. Be careful on the way to work, dear. I know if it's snowing here, it's hellish over there. And those are the recommendations. Let me see what we've got. Oh, yes, the cancer article, because we can't do this without the cancer article, right? Alrighty then. Okay, here we go. Blip. Alright, so, from our own Callie, because Callie is our mistress of cancer. Yes, you are reading that headline right out of refinery29.com. What's the difference between gender and sex? Here we go, down the cancer hole. There's a good chance you've come across gender reveal videos while scrolling through the internet. The stunts have a tendency... Oh, wait a minute. I have to overly dramatically read this. After all, that's what you guys come here for at the end of the show, right? So here I go. There's a good chance you've come across gender reveal videos while scrolling through the internet. The stunts have a tendency to go viral whenever they're especially epic or when something goes horribly wrong. But if you read about gender reveal parties on Refinery 29, you'll notice we don't talk about the parents revealing their unborn child's gender. Instead, we say that the parents revealed the baby's sex. That's because gender and sex, though sometimes connected, are two separate things. The most basic difference is that sex is something a doctor assigns a person when they're born. Bullshit. While gender is how a person experiences and or presents themselves. Get your head out of your ass. Moments after a baby is born, doctors look at their genitals and declare that new little person's sex as either male or female. In cases where a baby is born intersex, their intersex status is detected. Not all intersex people differences are visible to the eye. Doctors have often recommended normalizing surgeries to make their bodies typically male or female in an attempt to maintain a binary sex system. It is binary, there are only two genders. Morning, Rosa! These surgeries have been found so harmful that more and more medical associations and human rights organizations have joined intersex activists in calling for a ban. Let's overlook the fact that some of these intersex operations need to be done, because if they are not done, it is to the detrimental health of the child, meaning they're life-saving operations in some intersex cases. Intersex is not a case, intersex is not a sex, nor is it some new exotic gender. Intersex is a chromosomal and genetic anomaly that is not that common. For those of you that would like an example of an intersex person would be a hermaphrodite. I think we are all familiar with that term. But there are more than one genetic anomaly that fall upon underneath the category of intersex. But as the child grows, they might begin to experience themselves as something different from what the doctor decided, based on cultural understandings of gender. So someone who the doctor decided was a boy might feel intrinsically that she's actually a girl. For that person, sex and gender are two different things. She was assigned a male at birth, but her gender is a woman. Bullshit. Doctors and parents project their understanding of who that child is going to be and what gender they'll know themselves to be, based truly on physical characteristics, says Dave Pope, organizing director at Trans United. J. Willie, intersex operations should be avoided if it's not absolutely necessary. Good morning, my lovely milady. Good morning. It's a lot, to my understanding, J. Willie, operations for intersex children are only done when there is a clear threat to the child's life if the operation doesn't happen. That is my understanding. The problem, she says, is that so many people believe those physical characteristics, i.e. what a baby's genitals look like, come with inherent personality traits that won't change throughout the baby's lifetime. But a person's gender doesn't always match the personality traits we ascribe to their sex. That's a problem. No, it's not. how you express yourself does nothing to do with your sex. You can be a feminine male and be a straight male. You can be a butch female and still be a straight female. I'm a damn tomboy. Get over your fucking self. Take your head out your ass, and maybe you can see the things from our perspective for a damn change. Quit trying to pull this bullshit of, oh, maybe you might be I'm not trans. Last time I checked, I was a straight woman. Last time I checked my genitals, I was a fucking female. I'm a tomboy. I'd rather swing on rope swings. I'd rather do like, well, when I was little, I was swinging on, I'm too old for that shit now, but anyway. I'm more interested in guy things than girl things. I was never been interested in wearing high heels. I consider those fucking torture devices, and get those goddamn things away from me. That doesn't mean I'm trans. It just means I'm a tomboy. Tomboy, that's not PC. Exactly. I am not politically correct. Never gonna be politically correct. That's a problem, Pope says, because it gets people started with a fallacy, like your face. Like everything that comes out of your mouth is a fallacy because it's an appeal to emotion. Anyway, the fallacy lies partly in the expectation society puts on someone based on their sex assigned at birth. That a person born with a vulva will always act and dress like a society's notion of a girl, for example, but also in the idea that only two biological sexes exist. For intersex people, Pope says, there's just a physically inaccurate problem with categorizing people as either one or two polar opposite genders, because they're a genetic anomaly. We discussed this. You're making me repeat myself, bitch. Move. There are many different ways someone can be intersex. No, there isn't. There's different genetic anomalies which fall under the category of being intersex, if that's what you mean. The word is an umbrella term to describe people who are born with sex characteristics with genetic anomalies, including genitals, gonads, and chromosome patterns that don't fall within strict definitions of male or female, according to the United Nations for LGBT equality. Yeah. Although intersex is sometimes conceptualized as a third sex, it's not. Some intersex people oppose that framing. Almost every time people talk about gender and gender identity, they forget to mention that people are actually born male, female, and intersex. Which is still either male or female, but I guess. Says Haida Viloria, an intersex activist and author, have born both an intersex life, so you're a hermaphrodite. In fact, Viloria says that about 1.7% of the population is born intersex, which is a small percentage of the population for you to be pushing your shit on everybody else. Roughly the same percentage as people who are born with red hair. Are you trying to say that intersex people have no souls? Dun dun dun. J. Willie. Intersex have nothing to do with sexuality. The concept of LGBT is nonsensical. Exactly. I completely agree. People always forget New York already recognized 31 genders, so realistically we could use it as a test ground for this shit. I love Tim Pool's question, what about the gender pay gap? Yep, there are two genders. Oh, you're... Alright, so I guess I should feel sorry about the joke about redheads not having a soul. Oops. I stuck my foot in my mouth. I'm not a ginger, though. Like people born with male or female bodies, people who are born intersex can grow up to experience and present their gender in any way. Someone could be intersex and identify as a man or identify as a woman, or as a non-binary person, and on and on. Essentially, gender doesn't boil down to our sex parts for anyone. Oh, great, now I'm flashing back to that fucking video from Bill Nye the Science Guy. Viloria says we're born with certain bodies, but they don't even matter until we start having a perception of who we are. That's why you'll never hear us talk about the baby's gender, because until that baby can grow up and start experiencing how they really feel, all we know is their sex. In other words, we're going to continue to completely fuck over the mental acuity of our children because we don't want to look at their genitals and go, you have a bouncing baby boy or you have a bouncing baby girl. Congratulations. No, we can't do that because PC bullshit. Oh, fuck your political correctness. I swear to frickin' God, these people. Oh, I swear to frickin' God, these frickin' people are driving me insane. I think in 2018, this is what is going to drive a lot of people to drink. Because apparently they're going to continue pushing this, even though they're full of a truckload of manure. So, live stream announcements for the day. We have, for tomorrow morning at 8:30, you have Rhetorical Sunrise with our own Arthur. 8:30, you have your first cup of coffee with him in the morning. Good morning, Struggling Justice. How are you doing? Numbed Skull at 9 a.m. with the Great Debate. So catch that on Friday. He does that on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The Kumite is probably still playing their music. They tend to say they start at 11, but they really don't start talking until 11:30, 11:45, depending on how they're feeling. The Ghost Poo Podcast is at 6 p.m. all times Eastern Standard Time, and it is on Drunken Uncle's channel this time. Hellcats, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Jason. Lords of the Night on Ranting Monkey's channel, and Minions of the Zoo so soon after Lords of the Night is done and over with. So those are the live stream announcements for the day. Reality check. Fact. They don't tell you you're having a boy or a girl when you get the baby sexed in the 14th through 20th weeks. They say hot dog or hamburger. Wow. Jay Willie. Fuck the ethno state. Let us just create a state without insanity instead. That is from Jay Willie. Mariel says, welcome to the moral death of the Western world. Jay Willie, let us restore the West. I say, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again on this channel, which is probably why it keeps getting demonetized. We need to remove all the safety tags from appliances and things that everybody uses every day, and just let natural selection take its course. Because if you're too stupid to realize that you're not supposed to take your hairdryer into your shower, you shouldn't be breeding. If you're dumb enough to look at a Tide Pod and think that that would be a really good snack, you don't need to be breeding. If you take a look at a toaster and think that that's the best way to warm up your dick in the morning, maybe you shouldn't be breeding. If you look at crossing a busy street as a challenge instead of a safety hazard, maybe you shouldn't be breathing. If you take a look at a plastic bag and think it's a really good idea to put it over your head in order to filter out the impurities of the environment around you, maybe you shouldn't be breeding. I'm just saying, these are just a few, these are just a few examples. Nice Downing Tommy, I'm too poor for Tide, I buy cheer pods. If you look at laundry pods and go, gee, this might taste good, maybe you shouldn't be breeding. Maybe you should check out of the gene pool. Just fill out that application for the Darwin Award. And if you can fit your dick into a toaster slot, you have some real size issues. Well, I don't have a dick. If you stick your dick into a microwave, maybe you shouldn't be breeding. Maybe you shouldn't be breeding. That's the latest tagline. Like, you just might be a redneck. Yeah, Mom, Tide and me don't like each other either. It's just, there's so much stupidity in the world. If you're part of a group that's against fascism and you don't realize you're being fascist, maybe you shouldn't be breeding. If you take a look at socialism and think that's a really good idea, maybe you shouldn't be breeding. If you look at the examples of communism around the world and think that that is a viable government to implement succinctly, maybe you shouldn't be breeding. That's it. We need a George Carlin version of You Might Be a Redneck, read by Mitch. Yeah, and he has to end it with a tagline, maybe you shouldn't be breeding. So I think I just coined that this morning. Draconeth, the toaster will fix the breeding thing. Yeah. Antifa are commies, way worse than fascism. Yes, I agree, Jay Willie. It's If you're holding a fork and you think the best place to put it isn't an electrical socket, maybe you shouldn't be breeding. Just saying. Just saying. And on that note, my friends, may your coffee ever flow, may your caffeine be ever strong, and may you have a wonderfully wacky Wednesday. Catch you on the next show.